Hiya! Welcome back to my channel! If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. If you are a new subscriber, thank you for joining. If you enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up and click subscribe. I mostly talk about Microlocs. I also sometimes talk about beauty and motherhood. Okay, so today's video, it is about the retightening tools that you need. I know when Microlocs / sister locks first really became a thing, really popular, a lot of people didn't really know how to take on retightening their hair themselves unless they took an official sister locks class. Now, if you have sister locks and you want to maintain being able to legally call them sister locks, then yes, you do need to take a retightening class. However, if you're not fussed about keeping a sister locks title, or you have Microlocs that were done in the salon, or you did them yourself and you want to know how to read them, you had them like done in the salon or by someone else, and you want to know how to retighten them, then say, wow. If you have Microlocs that were done like, you know, by someone in a salon and you want to know how to retighten them yourself, this video will teach you the tools that you need to be able to retighten your hair yourself. I have a video that I will link somewhere. I think there's like a little I or something somewhere in here, and definitely in the description box, on how you can retighten your locks. This video, God, is focusing on the tools that you will need. So, retightening is like the interlock version of, is the interlock version of retwisting. So you know with traditional locks you retwist, you like palm roll retwist. Interlocking is the microlock version of that. Reason being is you can palm roll your hair when it's microlocked, but microlocks are so small that it could, in some cases, lead to breakage because of how tight you need to twist them, or you can get a lot more marrying of locks because with retwisting, you know, sweating, showering, all that stuff can allow the palm roll to unravel, and because the Microlocs are so small, they can marry really quickly. So interlocking is a form of knotting the hair on itself. That's the easiest way to put it without, sounds a bit scary, but it's not. It's just kind of almost inside out braiding, knotting the hair amongst itself to create the interlock braid, which will eventually bud and form a lovely little lock. So a while back, like I said, I showed a tutorial. No, this is a different tutorial. A few years ago, again, I'll link it somewhere, I showed how you can make your own retightening tool from a plastic sewing needle. And I used that plastic sewing needle for years. I'm 5 years in now. I'm pretty sure I used it for the first 2.5, maybe even 3 years. No. I used it for the first 4 years. So for the majority of my Microloc journey, I have used the modified plastic sewing needle to retighten my hair. Now, I don't use that anymore. I still have it if I need it, but it's not my go-to anymore. So I'm going to talk you through the different types of Microloc tools that I've used, any additional tools that you need, and then the pros and cons of each. So let me start with what I used first. I still have it from 5 years ago. It's a latch hook. Now, I used this latch hook. It's kind of dirty now looking at it, but you know, it's 5 years old, allow me. So if I can, I'm sure most of you know what a latch hook is. It's got a little loop and you can open it there and you loop your lock, you open it like this, you loop it through the base of the lock, close it shut, loop the end of the hair into the lock, close it shut, pull it through. That's how you use the latch hook. So the latch hook looks complicated but really simple to use. It's really great. Pros, right? It's really great for shorter locks. Sorry, I'm looking down. I'm just double checking my notes. It's great for shorter locks. So when I had all the ones along my hairline break off in the beginning, now they're like, let me pour now. Now they're long enough to use the tool that I use now, right? So that's what they look like now. But when they were first, I was like, you know, first trying to get them back in, like, and they were like that. That's what I used. I used the latch hook. The latch hook is really good for shorter locks, for retightening them. The con is that once your locks are a bit longer than short, they take forever, because with the latch hook you need to open it up, pull it through the base of the lock, lock the end of the hair in, close it, pull it through, open it up, pull it through the lock, put the end in, close it, pull it through. And you need to do that for every single point on your rotation. I do a 4-point rotation for my locks. If you do a 2, 3, 4, either way, you need to do the open, close, pull it through for every single part. So you're doing so many movements, open, close, just to get one 4-point rotation. So it takes forever. But for shorter locks, like I have another one that's quite short back here. Is it this one? Yeah. For short locks, it's great. But for anything longer than probably that, yeah, it's really tedious. So that's why I don't use that. But that is why I hang on to it. If I've had any locks that snapped off, this was brilliant. The next tool I want to talk about is the plastic DIY one. I'm talking about this in order of how I came to acquire them. So when I started my Microloc journey, I did my whole entire install with this. Bear in mind, it took me 2 weeks. This is probably part of it, but yes, it took me 2 weeks. I did my whole install 5 years ago with this. The next one I want to talk about is the DIY, the modified plastic sewing needle. I don't have any of the full length, like what they look like when they first come. So I'm going to stick a picture in here from Google. Thanks, Google. But this is, let me bring it up closer for you guys to see. I don't know if that'll focus, but that is the modified plastic sewing needle. So essentially I take a plastic sewing needle, it's probably about that long, I cut it, I then get a nail file and a nail buffer to smooth the end so it's not sharp and, you know, cut off. It's like a little rounded point. Again, let me see if I can bring that closer for you to see. And so I use a pair of scissors, a closed pair of scissors. I put it in through the eye of the needle and then I twist it to widen it so that I can fit my locks through. I should probably put some cutaways. That's probably easier than trying to bring up to the camera, so I'll put some cutaways in there. So this is what I used for 4 years of my 5-year Microloc journey. The pros is that these are hella cheap. Like I used to buy maybe a pack of 10 on eBay for maybe $1.99, $2.99. They're really, really cheap and easy to replace. So that's the pro. The con is they break really easy. So hence why I'd have to keep buying them. If I bought a pack of 10, that'd probably take me through 3 or 4 retightnings. And then by then I'd probably break all of them or lose them. And then I'd have to buy some more. Because they're so cheap, it didn't really bug me having to buy more, but it was annoying that they would break easily. The other con is that because of how I used scissors or even the way they are manufactured, my hair would catch along a little bit. So on the inside, there's like, it looks like from the way they make the Microlocs, make the plastic sewing needles, they probably have 2 molds that they fill with the plastic and then put them all together, because you can see like a line all the way around the edge on the outside and along on the inside of the eye of the needle. So because of that, my hair used to catch on those little bits of plastic that were inside, like little jagged edges, and where I used scissors to widen the eye of the needle, it probably scratched some of the plastic and make little hooks, really small little hooks. My hair used to catch in it, which was really annoying because I'd pull it through and I'd be trying to put it through, but it caught on my hair and then I'd be like in a tug of war trying to get it through. So that was a con, and that's primarily what made me start looking for an alternative to this in year 4 last year. I moved on to this. So I have 2 of them. Again, I will put cutaways for you to see. These are specific for Microlocs. They came in a pack of 2. I ordered them from eBay. One is slightly bigger than the other, or slightly wider than the other, and I used this for about 9-10 months. So what I'm currently using is very recent, but it's my favourite of all of them. So with this, I don't know what to call it, a metal loop. I don't know what to call it. I don't remember the exact name for it, but I just searched for dreadlock tool. That's what I typed in on eBay, and then I found these. So pros, because they're metal, they're really strong. They ain't gonna break. They don't rust. I've not noticed any rusting. I've not noticed any bits of metal coming away. Everything is nice and smooth. Nothing is going to catch on your locks. They have a blunt, smooth end. There's no extra jagged bits. It's all bits. It's all smooth. Nothing's going to catch. The cons of this is that because the end is quite thick, again, I'm going to put a cutaway so you can see it better. The end of it, bearing in mind, if you have really thick locks or traditional size locks, this blunt end is not going to bother you at all because your parts are going to be a lot larger. But with us Microlocs people, our parts are usually very small, and so this blunted end is quite thick, and sometimes when you get to that last rotation, I am never a fan of, you know, retightening your hair super tight. But when you get to the last rotation, when I get to the last rotation that I'm comfortable with, I struggle sometimes to get this blunt end through it. Some would argue and say, well, then that means you're doing it too tight. But for me, this presents a problem. The other problem I have, which I'm going to demonstrate with a hairband actually, is so it's like almost like a safety pin. So inside it loops, it goes all the way around. You'll do that in the cutaway, you'll see what I mean. When I loop my lock through, let's just pretend this hairband is my lock. What I want to do is to be able to pull it down because it's open all the way to the bottom. So I want to be able to pull it down like that so that my hair is in there, and then I pull it through. But because of how it's made and it comes through to the bottom, it's like almost makes it like it's too fat to fit through the section of hair at the bottom, at the base of your lock. And what you really want is the lock to stay at the top, and then it goes, you know, where it's tapered, that fits through, and then the whole lock fits through. So it almost seems like not a manufacturing flaw, but a design flaw. So I did use this, but because I felt it was better, because it was nice and smooth, it was better than the DIY Microloc tool I had, but it wasn't solving the problem. So after about 9 months or so, I started looking for something else, which brings me on to my other metal hook tool, or metal needle, I guess I can refer to. Again, another eBay find. This I have, it came in a pack of 2. All these things have been relatively cheap. Nothing's been more than £5. Maybe this was £7. And again, I'll put this in a cutaway so you can see them better. One's silver, one's gold. They're both exactly the same. There's no size difference or anything. And what it is curved. It's curved like a weave needle. You know the weave needles that we used to use? It's curved like that. And it has the base of it is wider, and then it almost pinches together and then slightly widens again at the end, which means when you put your lock through, you can hook it in there and it will stay put, and then you can lock your hair through. And the base of it is rounded, so it's not going to hurt your scalp, but it's pointed and thin so that it's a lot thinner than this. It's thinner than the base of the one I showed you previously. So in the cutaway, I'll show you like the two of them side by side, and you'll see that it's a lot thinner. So I don't have the problem that I get with this one when it comes to the last rotation. So this makes it so much easier. It's actually cut down on my time that it takes to retighten my locks, because I hook the hair in there. The hair's not going to come out. Like let me take this one out again. If I hook my lock in here, if I look in here, because of how it is at the end, it stays put, so it's not going to come out. So I can just whoop, 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 whoop. It makes it so much quicker. So that is this is my favorite so far. I'm going to put the link for it in eBay. It's not an ad or anything like that. It's just where I got it from. Or you could just type in Loc Interlocking tool, anything like that, and you'll probably see it come up. So these 2 are my favourite tools for retightening my hair. It came in a pack of 2, which is wonderful. If one should ever break or I lose it, I have another one. Now, the other additional tools that you will need. Oh, let me just add in case I forgot. I don't have any cons for that last one that I show you. Maybe in 6 months' time I will, but for now I have no cons. I love that tool. Now, additional tools that you may need to interlock your locks are a comb. Now, generally speaking, I only use the comb for my hairline, which you guys know I retwist. But even if you are interlocking your hairline, your front row, you still want a comb just to make sure that your parts are neat and they're not marrying over. If you do what I'm going to say next, they shouldn't, but still having a tail comb, we're not really fussed about this part, but a tail comb is really helpful. An essential for me, might not be an essential for you, but for me. An essential that I definitely say you do need are some of these like crocodile clip things. I have loads of these. Actually, I lost quite a few, so I recently ordered about 20 more on eBay. Again, these are relatively cheap. I think 20 of them was like £4 or something. They're metal chips, clips, they don't rust. I used to have the really big crocodile clips, but I actually prefer these ones. The reason being is that I can use this, it's very small, so it's not going to get in the way like a big crocodile clip would, but I can use this to isolate the locks. So I tend to use one or two to isolate my lock, the one I'm going to, you know, retighten, and I bring all the hair that might have grown out away from that lock in that square, so then I isolate everything else so that I'm not picking any stray hairs that belong to other locks. Because if you're retightening yourself, obviously you can see your hairline, you can probably see the sides, but you can't see the back or, you know, in the crown anywhere else. So it's really important to be able to isolate the lock so you're not, you know, accidentally locking it into another one, or you're not accidentally taking stray hairs from a separate lock. So that can happen really easily. So isolating your lock means it's not going to happen. It seems tedious, it seems long-winded, but in the long run it's worth it, because having locks that have accidentally married together and you've now created like a two-headed dragon, I've done it so many times that I know how to undo it, but you don't want to have to waste that time doing it. And I have, especially in the beginning of my Microloc journey, created so many two-headed dragons from marrying them together by accident and not knowing how to undo it. So if you isolate the lock, you get rid of that problem completely. The last thing you'll need, really simple, is a hairband. Now, I know a lot of people call hairbands those little ones that are about that big. Yet when you have locks, that doesn't exist anymore. So these are headbands, you know, the elastic headbands that have no, I mean, there's a little bit of like, I don't know if it's glue or if they used to stick the two ends together, but there's no metal like catching or anything. These are my hairbands. These are the kind of hairbands that you will need once you have locks, because once they mature and they start getting some length, those itty bitty hairbands ain't gonna do nothing for you. So you need some of these just to be able to keep the hair out of the way. My go-to, depending on if I'm starting to retighten my hair on a Sunday night and I have Monday to go to, then I will start from the front. If I'm doing this on a Friday night and I know I've got the weekend, I start from the back. Either way, I like to tie my hair that I have not retightened yet out of the way, and then have the one that I've retightened hang loose. So having some hairbands on deck is always beneficial. When it comes to self-retightening, my top 3 tips for you guys are: number 1, damp hair. Do not, whether you have traditional locks and you're retwisting or you got Microlocs and you're interlocking, please do not attempt to retwist or retighten with dry hair. You gotta have popping locks, your hair's got, don't do it. It's not good, it's very damaging. Damp hair. Your hair does not need to be soaking wet. I don't like to retighten my hair when it's soaking wet. I like to retighten when it's damp. Damp to dry. And when I say damp to dry, it's only because I don't want to have to go sleep with wet hair. So what I do is, even if my hair is dry and I'm now starting to retighten, I have my spray bottle, I spritz the area that I'm working on, retighten that. When I've moved over from that area, spritz, and I carry on going. So it doesn't have to be immediately after a wash while your hair's still wet. You can be, my hair's dry, but I'm going to retighten it now, and spritz it. But please let it be damp. Do not retighten on dry hair. Again, because it's so important, especially if your grid and all of that is important to you, please, whilst you're working, isolate the lock that you're working on. Use little clips like these ones that I've shown you to isolate the lock, and then retighten that one. And most of the time, it's not going to be like you need to take all 3 clips out and look at it. Because, for example, if I'm working on this strip here, right, I'm going to isolate this here, and I'm going to isolate this here. This here can stay in for a few locks. What I'll need to pick up and move back is the one that's over here, until I've gotten far back enough that this one now needs to move further back. Do you follow what I'm saying? But isolate the locks so you don't marry them into other locks and take stray hairs that belong to other locks and mess, because that's how you're going to mess up your grid. My grid, I mean, I'm not really that fussed about it, but you know, you want your parts to look neat. But if you really want to keep those nice, neat, straight parts that you took the time to do, or as a hairstylist took the time to do, or an optician did, then isolate the locks so that you're not moving hair over across the parting. My last and most important tip for you if you're self-retightening is patience. Patience, patience, patience. Do not rush. Why are you running fast? There is no need to rush. Listen, if it takes you 4 days to retighten your hair, it takes you 4 days to retighten your hair. There is head scarves, there are headbands, there are ways you can style it out. Trust me, I've done every which way of styling out I can when I've taken longer than a day to retighten my locks. I personally take a whole weekend. So I know if I need to retighten my hair this weekend, I'm going to get an alarm on my phone. I get the alarm. It's always on a Friday every 5 weeks on my phone to tell me it's time to retighten your hair. I like to do it that way, so I know I've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But even if you don't have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you've got a random Thursday, take your time. Please do not. Rushing is going to cause you so many problems. You rush, you get frustrated. You rush, you make a mistake. You get angry. Don't rush. There is no need to rush. Patience. Take your time. If you haven't got a lot of time and you want to do it bit by bit and you've got an hour, do it for an hour. If you only manage to retighten 6 locks in that hour, you retighten 6 locks in that hour. So what? I have been doing it for a while, so I can, if I need to, sometimes if I'm really pressed for time, I will let everybody go to bed and I just won't sleep that night, and I'll stand in the mirror and I'll retighten my whole head. But that is me, and that's because I've been doing it for a long time. And even then, if I start getting really exhausted, I stop, because I don't want to make mistakes of where I'm creating 700, you know, double-headed dragons, and where my locks are now got all over my head. No. So take your time. I always stop retightening my hair if I am very tired, because I'm going to make mistakes. If I'm in a bad mood, I don't even attempt to start, because I'm going to make mistakes, and then I'm going to get angry because I've made a mistake. And I don't do it if I start feeling frustrated, because yes, having microlocks and self-retightening, maintaining them yourself, it can get frustrating. You can sit there and you go, oh my god, I wish I had traditional locks because it'd take me 30 minutes to twist this whole head. It can get frustrating. It's human nature, and it's just the nature of the beast when it comes to having microlocks, because you have a lot of locks to get through. So it can get frustrating, but the moment I start getting frustrated, I step away. I would rather rock a headscarf for 4 days before I get another chance to touch my head than to power on through and make a whole mess that I can't fix, and then now think I got to cut all the shit off. So please, the biggest word of advice I can give to you is have patience. So that's all I can advise you on. That's all I can tell you about the tools that you need to retighten your hair. A few tips thrown in there. I hope they were useful. I hope they were helpful. If you've got any additional tips and tricks that you want to pass on to the Microloc community, please drop them down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you enjoyed. There's content coming out all the time. I upload every Wednesday and every Sunday. Give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. There's some extra content here for you to consume if you've got the time. Thank you for watching. Bye.